From the headlines that move us
to the plays on the field and the people making a difference.
It's news, sports, it's stories that keep our community alive.
This is the Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.
I'm Christopher Ingram.
And I'm Sarina Fazan. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Sarina, we have a real treat here today.
We certainly do.
We have a guest who was my first client when I bought the studio, and my favorite client, Misty Carson. Misty, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
It's great. It's so great to have you here on kind of the other side, if you will, because you're normally sitting here doing the interviews for your clients and for your show.
I am. It does feel a little strange.
Doesn't it, though, sometimes?
Yes.
And Misty, I just have to say, I mean, the warmth in your smile, and you just light up a room.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very, very kind. I'm super excited to be here. It does absolutely feel a little strange, so bear with me as I'm not the one
you're
doing
great.
the
I've told
interviews.
so many people. I told Sarina, you are such a natural on the camera, behind the camera, or in front of the camera. You do such a great job. It's just amazing to me that you are not a 20-plus year career veteran in broadcast consulting, because you're really good. I wish all our clients were as good as you are.
Thank you. I mean, call Tamara and Hall and Drew Barrymore, let them know. And I'd be happy to have my own daytime show.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, you're going to have to step in line behind us.
We're putting it out in the universe.
That's
though.
right. That's right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So not a Floridian native. I've been here almost 4 years, although I do feel like Tampa is my home. It is my heartbeat of Tampa Bay. So I truly found my people. Grew up in a very small farm town, didn't even have a stoplight, just a blinking red. Actually more cows than people, which is insane. Didn't get a McDonald's till I was like a teenager. 20 miles to the grocery store. Very, very small. The sticks. Yeah, but I always knew that I thought different and felt different than everybody around me, and here I truly have found my community. I am super philanthropic, and Tampa is all about giving back. So this is where I'm meant to be, 100%.
That's fantastic.
It's so wonderful to have people like you in the community, and I know you're so focused on nonprofits, but you also have a huge voice in the insurance industry.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to think that I do. I have been building my audience for sure. The difference is I want business leaders to understand how insurance actually works and where our industry could do better. A lot of times they aren't given the full picture, the full story. There are a lot of games per se that I feel a lot of my peers in my industry play that keep business leaders from having access to what's best for them in the sake of not losing them as a client, because that's how we get paid, is by acquiring and maintaining or retaining clients.
Well, I have to tell you, my background, my first job out of college was peddling commercial property and casualty insurance. I was terrible at it. It lasted 6 months, and then I got back into politics where I belong. My ex-wife of 21 years is an insurance executive, and so I probably know more about insurance than the average Joe, but I don't know everything. You know so much, and I learn every time that you're in the studio recording your show. I learn so much. The first thing that you talked about, one of the first things you talked about on your first show that you taped here was about how when you look to get quotes on your business from another agent, something happens that is a little bit surreptitious, let's say. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so one of the tricks that happens in our industry is that they even get a whiff that you may be looking outside, getting another broker's opinion, usually flagged by somebody ordering their loss runs or asking for their loss history or full copies of their policies. Their current broker will immediately send it out to market to block the market so that the competing or incoming potential broker can't have access to the market to be able to quote them somewhere new.
Unbelievable.
You're kidding.
That's
That's
just like
absolutely awful.
That's like mobster kind of underling dealings, right?
It is. It's so interesting. I just went through this with a client that I recently acquired, a very large food manufacturer. They actually make spices. And somebody who was coming in asking questions, and I said, listen, if you want us all to do it, you need to assign markets. Like, you need to tell them, ask us all, including myself, to give you our 3 best markets and then tell you why we want them and why we need them. And then you tell us who can have who, and then we go out into the market. We don't block each other. We don't step on each other's toes. Somebody went and blocked the market even before that conversation to even get to that point.
And that should be illegal.
I know. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes.
You would
It's
think
like
that it would
restraint
be,
of trade or something. I don't know. Is like, what can you do to try to work around that? Is there anything that you can advise a prospect that's come to you to say, here's how we can circumvent your current broker that you're not happy with from doing what you just described?
Well, you either need to have the conversation as the business leader to your broker and say to them, I'm going to be shopping this year. You know, that's your right, and they shouldn't give you grief or a hard time, although they usually do. And a lot of times that's very uncomfortable because for the business owner, because he doesn't know what he's getting, right? The devil you know is a lot of times better to them than the devil you don't. And we're all such good salespeople that we all say the right things, right? So it can be very confusing for a business leader. So if they're not comfortable doing that, then the other thing is if you have somebody who has good relationships with carriers, they will allow you to send an email from the business leader saying either reject the quote or remove the quote or allow this broker to have access to it to work on it. But you have to have a good relationship with the carriers. If you're somebody like you who's brand new, like you said in PNC Insurance, no carrier is going
They
to
don't care, right.
right. Somebody like me, I'm blessed. I've made very good relationships on both sides of the street, so they would allow me to do something like that. But that's not the case for everyone.
You know, it's so overwhelming in the first place when you seek out insurance in your business and so on and so forth, that just to know that we have to be on top of this too is, I'm stressed out just thinking about it. I really, right? Like I'm stressed out. So, so I know you've given us some great tips, but what else would you say, Misty? Do we research it? I mean, like, what can we do? Like, what can an average person do?
So I think business leaders really need to ask their broker a lot of questions. Another thing that I find very often that happens is they don't truly understand how they're paying their broker. Like, they'll say, I've seen this recently in another proposal that I was looking at and going over their policies and all of the things. It just says that this is how much they pay for this policy line, includes commission, but it doesn't have it broken out as a line item. So I was like, you have no idea if 20% of this number, because it can be anywhere from 6% to 20% of the premium that you're paying gets paid to the broker firm in commission. And so you should have it broken out. Like you should know what you're paying for.
So that begs a question, and I know you'll answer this honestly because you have already probably gotten your own self in trouble by ticking off people within the industry by exposing these secrets.
Yes.
Is a broker's commission negotiable with the client?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of times, especially for nonprofits or once you get to a certain size, it doesn't behoove the business leader or the business owner to pay straight commission. They really should be asking for a fee. So, because if you're thinking about paying, let's say you pay $4 million in insurance premium and they're getting 10% commission. That's $400,000 of the money that they're paying every single year. That's just going straight off that they're funding for that
Huge
broker
money.
relationship. You have to do a lot of damn work to earn $400,000. So clients that size are a lot of work. There's biweekly meetings, there's making sure, there's acquisitions, there's employees moving, there's all these things that are currently happening, but not to the tune of $400,000, right? That should be negotiated between you and your business owner. And a lot of people don't even have that conversation.
Right.
They just don't know.
But could a small business owner that has maybe $50,000 to $100,000 in premiums, or maybe even less, can they negotiate commission with their broker as well?
Yeah, so absolutely. So there are definitely brokers that specialize in smaller businesses and then some that specialize in middle market. So a really interesting thing that's happened in our industry over the last 5-ish to 7 years is we've started segmenting businesses, and then you have a different population of people like me servicing smaller business, and then I would say upper smaller business, smaller middle market business, to true middle market, even up to enterprise sales. You need somebody with different expertise to be able to handle what we call a business owner's policy, where you put everything in a little package and you pay one premium for general liability and for property insurance, to somebody who's dealing with a captive who has to have a line of credit, or they have to invest their money, or way different clientele, way different amount of education and experience.
What? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say no, you ask first because mine is more the personal side of something.
Okay, well, what are some other tips and tricks that brokers are typically doing that you can give, they're the tricks, and you can give the tips to consumers on how to better navigate dealing with their commercial insurance?
Yeah, listen, the biggest thing for me is you need to have options. So most of the time, your incumbent broker, which is the broker you currently have as your advisor, the one you've had for the last policy year or however many years, a lot of times 15, 20 years, they should be bringing you every single year different choices. So a lot of times business leaders believe that they just get what they get and they don't get upset, right? So like they're 5 years old. But there are so many ways to structure a program around their risk tolerance, around their loss history, around what their specific loss history, around what we know about their industry as a whole. Certain industries you can imagine have a lot more workers' comp claims. Like you think about construction, manufacturing, roofers, right? And then how badly can they get hurt? If you know that, you can leverage the way that your insurance policy is written by taking on a deductible that's comfortable for you, that makes mathematical sense, right? Based on your loss history, based on what we know in the industry, and then forecasting based on your last 5 years. But so many people, their incumbent just shows up and they give them the renewal and it's guaranteed cost, which means no deductible, and it's the most expensive way to insure your business. The most expensive way.
Isn't that something?
And the broker's making more money the higher the premium is, because most of them are getting paid by commission.
Absolutely.
That your typical business owner is not negotiating.
Correct. Yeah, it's a cycle.
And let me ask you this, because I know I've read recently in personal auto that consumers think that they get rewarded and get good rates by being loyal to the same company, but the antithesis is actually true, from what I understand.
Correct.
Does that go on in commercial insurance as well?
Yes. So you'll see in commercial insurance, and it all depends on. So let me give you a really good example, and this is the best way for me to tell you a story. So Amazon DSPs became really popular, like 15, 12 years.
Tell us what a DSP is for those that
So
don't know.
that's a delivery service person, right? So that there you have all these little mom and pops that are opening up these Amazon fulfillment centers, and then they're hiring all these drivers, and then they're delivering Amazon packages. It's how we now can get something the same exact day that we order it.
It's incredible.
Which is insane.
Insane.
Amazon, you totally have my number. So like I'm sure there's one waiting for me. I get Ring doorbell notifications all the time. So there were companies, carriers in the market who built specific programs for Amazon DSPs. So they gave specialty coverage, it was a specialty rate. What they didn't anticipate were all of the losses that were going to happen. You've got a bunch of people who have never been drivers before, who are hiring for the first time, who are getting bitten by dogs, right? They're getting threatened, right? Some things they're jumping off really quickly off the back of their trucks and they're turning their ankles, they're hurting themselves, they're breaking packages, right? So all of the things you couldn't even anticipate until you have data.
Right.
So now a lot of those carriers have gotten off of that type of business. And so you'll see this cycle of where you'll have a very specific carrier will cover. In Florida, it's really hard for general contractors to get insurance because of all of our product defect. So we're very litigious in Florida.
Really?
Yeah. So if you if you touch somebody's home along the way, and we have a lot of tract homes, which are traditionally known to have more challenges. So you'll see the carriers get off the book and sell it to somebody else or non-renew it, and then you have this feeding frenzy in the market, and then those carriers will charge more premium because the risk is heavy, and you have this soft and hard, this cycles all the time. And if your broker partner, your advisor, your person like me, does not understand that or isn't able to help explain to you why those things are happening, you may want to consider shopping for a new broker partner.
I was going to say more on the emotional side. Clearly, you are so passionate about what you do and very knowledgeable, which also makes you great at what you do, right?
You.
Absolutely. I mean, you see it. You see in your answers. You see it in your expressions. What advice would you have just to anybody out there on following their dreams, on doing what they want to do? And
Yeah.
you have a show. I mean, you have a show right here at Gulfstream
Yes.
Studio.
Yes.
That's something you did on your own.
Yeah, that's a really, really awesome question. And I have to tell you, so I come from not much, right? So I built everything that I've had, I've built from scratch, and I've scrapped for every opportunity that I have. I am very, very grateful for the life that I've built, and I want to give a better example to my children, and it has not been easy. So the biggest piece of advice I can give is, in order to have something new, you have to give up something old. And a lot of people have a difficult time releasing themselves from that version of themselves, because there is comfort, especially when you comfort adversity, feeling like you belong, and it's hard to let go of the belonging. I actually wrote about this in my book. It's hard to let go of the belonging and to step into something new, because you don't know who's waiting there to wrap their arms around you. And everybody needs that.
Yeah.
So it can be very difficult. So a lot of us just stay stuck.
So how did you recognize that and get beyond being in that rut and being so successful in what you do and so knowledgeable?
So it's still a challenge, right? I'm almost 47 years old. I was just home visiting my family, who still lives in a trailer park right back where I came from. And they were giving me a very hard time about the success. And my mom literally texted me when I left and said, you know, ego is edging God out. You know, success is one thing, accolades are one thing, but joy is Jesus, others, and then you. It's like I'm almost shamed for being successful. So a lot of therapy, and a lot of I just deserve this. My kids deserve better. Like, I don't want to ever be that person. It's my opportunity to break the cycle. I told you I had written a book called The Unbreakable Advantage, and I have an entire chapter on what I call the naysayers. And it's the people in your life who disguise their concern for you as love, when truly it's discomfort with your growth, and how to recognize the two. And then how do you have those conversations where you can still grow? How do you make those choices without feeling like you don't belong? It's a very, very delicate dance.
When is your book coming out?
I am waiting for the publisher. Though I have two publishers who want to publish it, which is amazing. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's so wonderful.
So I have my second call March 2nd with the second publisher to go over my proposal. And then Carolyn Jones of 7 Marketing here in Tampa is going to help me decipher which one is the best one. Okay. And then I'll be choosing. She told me not to put it out until between February and April of next year, if they can't get it out by September, because apparently nobody buys anything but Christmas books after September.
When you get your book out, you're going to be a rock star. If you want to, I'm going to give you a little insider and behind TV scenes tip. Bookers and producers who put people on television programs, news programs, as soon as they see someone has written a book, and the book could literally be published but completely empty. There are no words inside the book, but if you say, I published a book and it's verifiable, you're seen as an instant expert. And with your background, knowledge, you're great on camera, and being a book publisher, you'll be all over the country talking about what you're passionate about in the insurance field as an expert on TV. I guarantee it, if that's something you want to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Yeah, my book is not necessarily for just insurance people.
It's your life, right?
Yes,
it's your life
yes.
and
Yeah.
where
Right.
you've come.
I don't tell much about my story per se. There's a little bit of it in there, and then in the Victory Chronicles I talk about my adversity, but I really didn't want it to be about the pain. I wanted it to be about what that pain gave me. And I want other people to see that as well. Like, so many times we're taught in our lives it's something to overcome, and that we have to like rise above and like superimpose and do all of those things. And the reality is it was a gift. Like, we were literally given skills that other people who haven't been through those hard things can't even tap into, and those skills make you a badass in the sales in the sales arena. They happen to be the same skills: how to read people really well, how to be empathetic, how to have clarity about your priorities, how to prioritize your day, how to prioritize your time, how to use very limited resources to be very successful, all the things that make you a rock star in sales.
Yeah.
My goal is to help other people who have been through those things unleash what they know is inside. They just don't have the language for it.
That's super cool.
Yeah, thank
okay,
you.
you start off in car sales.
Yes.
And I bet you were an amazing car salesperson.
Thank you.
And then what led you to insurance? Because insurance it's so boring. But like, tell us, how did
But
you get
she
into
makes it
insurance?
exciting.
I know,
Yeah.
she does.
Yeah. So interesting. I was terrified to take a job selling cars because it was strictly commission. And like I said, I had kids very, very young, and I was making like $40,000 a year, and I was like, I made it, right? I was like, so, back then I was like, that was almost 30 years ago. My daughter will be 30 this year, but I was like so excited. And then my friend Kat sold cars. She was like, you'd be phenomenal at it. And, but my dealer principal also didn't like me very much because I did car sales very similar to I do insurance sales. I was like, I will not sell you that car because I've seen that car go into service 3 times in the last month, and you're going to be upset with me because you're going to break down on the side of the road, and I'm not doing that to you and your family. Like, I'm just not doing it.
Right.
And it used to be a fight.
I bet.
Yeah, so I...
He just wants it off the line.
Yeah, but then eventually I got the reputation, and I didn't even have to cold call anymore. People would just bring their family in in
that's
droves.
awesome.
So what happened was, when I was raising my kids by myself, my oldest 2 were in high school, and they were very involved in sports and academia. And I was missing everything because anybody who's ever worked at a car dealership knows, and is a little bit better now, but back then, bell to bell, every single day. I mean, from the morning until 8, 9 o'clock at night. My oldest daughter was putting my 4-year-old to bed, giving her a bath, like making dinner. It was terrible. So I was like, where can I work where I can have better quality of life but still make good money? I still have control of my income because the harder I worked, the more I could make. And I wanted that. I already knew what that was, and I knew what I could do for myself. And I thought, the State Farm agent down the road is always at like the school events. He's always there. So I was like, I think I should look into insurance. And I found a posting on LinkedIn for Century Insurance, which is a direct writer, a little bit different of an animal. And it was for my territory, and it was insuring car dealerships.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that
Wow.
something?
Yes.
Instant expert.
How serendipitous.
Yes,
so
and
cool.
I was like, I know half of it. They can teach me the other half. I know I work hard. I almost quit like 3 years. It was so hard. I read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and he talks about quitting 3 feet from gold. And I knew, and I still know right now as I'm building my own business on the side as well, the more uncomfortable I feel, the closer I am to victory.
Wow, that's really insightful about yourself. Really cool.
Where can we find you? Like, what's the best way to follow you? What's the best way to see what you're doing on all aspects of your life?
And then call you to get your insurance quote,
Yes.
as
Yeah,
I recently did.
Right,
Yes,
for
thank
business
you.
and for your,
I called her. I've had the same agent that does my home and my commercial business insurance, and then I needed new work comp policy. And I called my agent, who I've been with for like 5 years. Took her me calling her 3 times before she got back to me. Then when she finally called me back, she said, I got all the information I need. I'll get a quote back to you. That was almost 3 weeks ago. Haven't heard hide nor hair from her.
Wow.
I spoke to Misty about it. She was here in the studio. Before we left the studio, I had an email from her office because she had called her office assistant, and we're getting ready to go.
Isn't that amazing?
yes,
And
that
I
is
haven't followed up
amazing.
now because I've been really busy this week.
No,
but,
that's
yeah.
okay. We got you. Whenever you're ready, right? So, that's what I'm talking about service. So, interestingly enough, I was hacked on Facebook, and Meta hates me now, and so I can never be on Facebook again. It's like a
bless
whole,
your heart.
it's like a whole thing. Yeah, it's been crazy. But you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm the most active. So it's just Misty Carson, MSHRM. I have a master's in science of human resource management and organizational leadership. And then you can find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, the Policy Playbook, and my podcast, which is on you can stream it on any podcast
Which she
anywhere.
records here, by the way.
Yes,
Yes, which
I
I
know.
record here, yes,
Yes.
which is amazing. And I also have another channel on the YouTube called Unbreakable Advantage, which is my book, just where I give little snippets about have you ever felt this way, or have you ever noticed how you stay calm under pressure when everybody else's like hair is on fire, like you didn't learn that from nowhere, it came from everything you've been through. And then I just started a Substack, although I have no profiles. I'm trying to figure it out because somebody said it was a good thing to do. And then I have Instagram, which is Unbreakable Advantage.
You were all
Wonderful.
over.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
Do you know why we're all here together?
Why?
You
Because
don't know?
she's a mover and shaker, and
Yeah.
we're honoring her on the show.
She's here the same reason you're here, and you're here the same reason she's here.
Bridget.
Bridget!
Yeah.
Yes, Bridget Bell.
I was
All
like,
three of
it's
us
gotta be
are
Bridget.
connected because of Bridget
Isn't
Bell.
that
Yeah.
something?
Isn't that crazy?
Shout out to Bridget.
Shout out to Bridget for sure.
She's amazing.
She is.
Yeah, love her.
Well, Misty, do you have any parting words? I guess a question for you, because I know you always ask a really compelling question of your guests on your podcast. What advice would you give to someone, let's say a young person who is looking to get into being a professional up-and-comer, maybe not even in a professional business environment, but like getting out there and building their own business or working for a company, but how do you be successful? Like,
First,
what's your answer?
Yeah, so also in my book, not that I'm trying to plug it, but this
You
is
plug it,
but
please.
this isn't. I am a little bit.
Plug it, plug it.
Yeah, but this I have a chapter on building your army. So it's really, really important first to have your brothers and sisters in arms. So you need people who are literally going through the same thing that you're going through, because they're going to understand the victories, the challenges better than anybody else, right? And then you need somebody who's made it. Like somebody who's made it doing exactly what you're doing. Not the CEO, not like a director of whatever sales, or somebody who's at a level above you, but somebody who is in the same role as you but made it, right? So that they can give you tips. Hey, you're messing up over here, you're messing up over there. Read a shit ton of books, listen to a lot of podcasts, and then when you get to the point where you can, hire a commander-in-chief who can give you really good feedback about how you show up every day in the world, because it's not as much about do you know the information or do you not know the information. It's how do you show up for other people when they need it the most. Because you can say to somebody, I don't know the answer to that, but give me 5 minutes or give me an hour or give me a day and I'll get back to you. I don't want to misinform you. And they will respect you so much more than giving them a bullshit answer that they think is going to be what they need to hear.
So how do you find the commander-in-chief?
Well, usually you can't afford them to live there. And interestingly enough, a lot of times if you start with your brothers and sisters in arms and then you're moving like up the chain, I have like 5 different levels of what you can get to and what they all cost and what they're all for and how they all serve you. Somebody in your circle, as you continue to grow and widen your circle of people who are ambitious and driven and getting to the same place that you are going to know someone who's exactly who you're meant to be with. My coaches, I found through Gretchen, who introduced me to Bridget, who introduced me. Like, it's all this big, beautiful, reciprocating circle.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Great advice. Isn't she amazing?
Amazing.
Thank you.
A rock star.
Aw,
You're wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Misty.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much for having
Misty
me.
Carson, Policy Playbook, and mover and shaker here in the Tampa Bay community. We're so glad to have had you here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Every story shared
Adds another heartbeat to Tampa Bay.
from courage to community.
We are so proud to tell the stories that keep our neighborhood strong.
Thanks for watching The Heartbeat of Tampa Bay. Loved it. You were great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for coming.
Thank you.